Hello, and today we would like to thank Fossibot for sending us the F2400. They wanted to find out what we thought. 2400 watt power bank. So I'll tell you a little bit about it first. You got your digital display here, which gives you all the details. Something that's a little different about this one from ones we've had previously is this knob here. And basically what this does is it restricts how many watts go into this power bank on charging. So I suppose if you're on a low power socket, you know, so many amps like you get when you're traveling in France or on various different campsites, you can actually turn it up or down to suit. This one on full power will charge from 0 to 100% within 2 hours if you're using a domestic power supply. It also has a solar socket, so you can use solar panels to charge it, or you can charge it from your vehicle. We've yet to try it on the charger one, our Bluetti charger one, to see if we can get some fast charging into it, but I'm not quite sure because the solar charge is actually limited at 500 watts, whereas when you charge it from your home power supply, about 1,000's going in there. So it charges nice and quickly. So 2 hours, 2,400 watts is pretty much about standard at the moment. So you've got a light on the front. They all have the light. Do we use them? Not really, but I guess it's nice to have. Flashing light for emergencies maybe. You have on this one, and I like this, lots of USBs and USB-C power sockets. Very useful. So we've got in here 2 USBs, 2 USB-Cs, and another 2 USB-Cs. The difference between the two here is the different power supply you can get out of each one. This side, got your 12 volt there, another one there, that's for your solar, and there that's for your cigarette lighter and charging up pumps and things like that. That's what you got there on the front, all very simple, very sleek. This side, this is how you charge. It's a kettle lead. Now here is where you plug in your solar panel. Now that is slightly chunkier than the ones you would use on an all powers, so make sure you've got the right cable for that, but don't worry too much about it because I'll show you what's in the top afterwards. The reset, so if it trips you just press the reset, it just resets itself. I'll come to these afterwards. This side, 3 3-pin sockets. It's a good amount. I think 4 is always overkill on these things, but 3 is a good amount that you might need to use. On the top, there is a flap. Now, most of these things come with fabric cable bags, which are fine, but what we find is we get them all mixed up and then the cables never go back in. Now, we have had one of these before. I think it was an Afri with a storage space, but it wasn't that big. This has got plenty of room to get all your cables in. Plus, this is actually how it comes. So it already comes, which I love, with the charger for the car or the vehicle. So you can charge it on your cigarette lighter. That's your solar cables there. So they're great. And then of course it comes with a kettle lead as well. So, and the nice thing is when you've stowed it all in there, including the kettle lead, it does actually shut. Okay, I'm going to tell you one thing I'm not so keen on. On this power bank, when you charge it or you use it, for some reason, you've got to open these flaps. It has grills in front of them, so I can't actually work out why the flaps are there, because all the other power banks we've had don't have these flaps. Now, if you forget and leave them down, it will start cutting out and giving you a warning message on there to say that it's overheating. So personally, from use, we would get rid of these. We'd probably just pull them off because I can just see them getting knocked off anyway, and us forgetting, and then the power bank overheating. I would say there's only 3 downsides to this power bank, and one of them doesn't really matter. That would be, to me, it doesn't have an app, but I think an app's just a nice thing to have. I don't think it's essential. We don't rely on the apps on our other ones. So yeah, it doesn't have one, but again, it depends how you'd use it anyway. The other thing is the size is compact, like that. The weight is heavy. This is not a light power bank. Bear that in mind. It's small, its footprint is small, it's powerful, but it is heavy. At 22 kilos, I think it is perhaps a little heavier than some of the ones we've had for the same size, but it is 2,400 watts, so that's pretty good. In fact, that would be our preferred size of power bank. Other than that, you've got the handles in the top, and it's got rubber feet, so as you can see, it doesn't slide around, so that's also a good thing. The display is nice and clear. That gives you all the details you need, and it also gives you the time you've got left, the percentage you've got left, how much it's charging. So it's, I would say it's very similar to one we've got that starts with an A, but that one's a little bit lighter. But I would say so far it's quite impressive. It seems to be of the same quality, and it certainly charges up within the time scale that they promise, and it seems to work quite nicely as well. So let's show you a little demonstration of this working. The thing we would use it most with is an induction hob or to cook. That's basically the thing we use most of our power banks for. We obviously use some of them for charging phones and things like that. Well, that's great because that has got plenty of points for actually doing that. Phones, iPads, laptops, so it'll do all of those things. But this is power hungry, and we like to show you power hungry things working and how quickly they'll deplete. So most of the time, anything you're doing that involves a fan or heat, that's gonna kill one of these fairly quickly. So I shall just show you how it works with our induction hob. So we've got half a pint of water, an empty and cold pan that works on an induction hob. Let's pop that on there, put the half a pint in, turn that on, power it on, and there we go. So let's have a look. So already it's taken 1,315 watts for heating this water. Now this is on its highest setting, so basically it won't dip, whereas the lower settings on this induction cooker tick in and out as you need it. So this figure here would fluctuate quite a lot to tell you how much longer you've got left, but on full whack it's got 74 minutes left. The pan is already starting to steam, as you can see, because these induction hobs work really quickly. So let's see, started on 92%. Let's see how long, what it gives us with a full boil. I've got to say, changing to induction is really changing the way we use these power banks. We are maximising what we can do with cooking from one of these. We're really getting to a boil now. It's bubbling on the bottom, as you can see there. That's boiling nicely. The power is at 90%, and we're going into a rolling boil now. 90% there. So to get to this stage, 2% of power. And I've got to say, the power bank's not struggling either. I didn't open these. See, I told you I was going to do that. Anyway, there we go. That is fully boiling now. Let's turn it off. So to that point, 89%. It's still drawing a little bit because the fans on the induction hob are still running. Fans off. It's finished. So that's us with half a pint of boiling water, with 3% of the power taken, and it's barely touched how long is left on this power bank. So that's great. I mean, you can quickly heat up a meal for hardly any power. So if you are planning on using, like we do, power banks and induction hobs, it's a good way to go. And this is a good price for the amount of power you can actually get from it. So I'm going to find you something else to see if we can test it. I'm just eye spying over there. Redders has got a heater, so I'll go get that. Here we go. So we have got a Zanussi heater. I'm not entirely sure what type, and not entirely sure what power. 2000 watt, so that'll work. Let's give it a go. That will turn it on. Ooh. Right, so that says it's going at 30 degrees, and yep, that is taking 2200, 2300. It's hovering around there. What does it reckon it's going to last? 39 minutes. This will last on, yeah, that's pumping out a lot of heat on its maximum heat. But if I knock it down a little bit, it says 24, so that's less. And that is drawing, that's kicking in and out, so that's very toasty. I think that might be a timer. Right, so 18 is the lowest. Let's get it back on spinning again. So 18 is the lowest, and that is about 2000 watts and still about 40 minutes. So this isn't your most power saving object. In fact, it's immensely power hungry. But I guess if you wanted a quick blast of heat, and believe me, this is giving off a quick blast of heat. It's very warm, even though it's on its lowest setting. You could do that, yeah. So that'll be quite interesting to see how long this will power the fan for. What I have noticed is the cooling fans aren't kicking in and out, and a lot of times our other ones are very noisy and their fans are on and off and on and off. At the moment, I can feel the fan is letting out a little bit of heat, but it's very quiet. Right, that is hot. This is looking good. I would say if you had one of these and you come back from somewhere and you quickly wanted to heat your van, because this would definitely quickly heat a van, it's a very hot heater, then yeah, that would be useful for that. But to have it on constantly, probably not the greatest thing, because you're only going to get about 40 to 50 minutes out of one of these if they're on full. It says, I mean, it's still showing 41 minutes, so, well, it doesn't look like it's rapidly dropping. I've just been timing it and it looks like its time left is actually fairly accurate, because it is using 2000 watts and it's gone to 38 minutes now, so that seems accurate to me. Quite impressed. I think with this one, it's not so many bells and whistles, but it's actually a good workhorse for what it does. My favourite bits are, you've got plenty of the USBs and USB-Cs, you've got a great pocket in the top, it's 2400 watts, which is our sweet spot, and it's got three 3-pin plug sockets. Its footprint is small and its price is good. Go and check out our description and you will find a link to the Fossibot, and yeah, I would definitely give this, I'm going to knock some points off because of the weight and the lack of an app and these silly flaps, which I would take off. So I would definitely give this a good 7 out of 10, and I think that's a good solid number. Yeah, well worth it.